Legends of Football Hooliganism, brought to you by Diablo TV, Derek Diablo. Like and subscribe, do the things you're supposed to do. Keep getting this historical information. And as you see, I'm going into a series on Plymouth Hooligans, Plymouth Argyle Hooligans. Everybody knows the firm is the TCE, Central Element, you understand? And that is the main firm that everybody's familiar with. And it's interesting, the name Central, bring everybody together, Central Element, you understand? But there's been many other firms, and there's sets below that, and I've detailed it in another video on Central Element history, right? Which I want to help to put together, and because this is a tale, it's history needs to be told, people don't know about it. First of all, Plymouth is a tough place. Plymouth is a fighting town, it's a Navy town, understand? I see more fights there than anywhere else. I've seen a lot of fights in Cardiff as well, but Plymouth, every night of the week, monthly playing, there's fights. It's kicking off there every night. It's a tough place. Not everybody's gonna want to go there. I'm gonna tell you. See, I've seen people that are not from Plymouth get beat up there in that area, in particular. Now, the thing about it is, you have hoods besides just Plymouth. You know, as in the case of many places, and they fight each other. So, EFFORD, EBB, EFFORD Boot Boys. EFFORD was where I lived in Plymouth. And people I got to be friends with besides the football, with people we call chavs or thugs, skinheads in this case, but he's a TCE. ADDER, Wayne Jones Brownlow, one of my absolute best, closest friends in UK, in England. And for those of you from stateside, everybody from Florida and everything, if you do skin a tea, rest in peace, God bless the dead, my older brother. Me and him created the skinhead hip-hop genre and everything like that. Old school skinhead from Fort Lauderdale who died, passed away, sadly. ADDER and Skin T are super alike. So, you know, I bring a tear to my eye if I sit there and think about it too much. But ADDER is a big dude like Skinner, and always like what English would call kicking off on people. You know, like. So I'm gonna make podcasts and all that kind of stuff in due time. But right now, this stuff don't cost me nothing. Everything I get, I've been making money. It ain't that much, but I'm not putting no money in it like other people putting all this money. I'm just hanging out in the place I would normally hang out in and doing these videos, talking about the stuff I'm interested in. But this is Gen 1. It's getting the names out there, isn't it? And then, bam! When I get, you know, I get the resources and the money coming in is a business, as that Andrew Tate chap said. Everything else is vanity. Feel me? So ain't no money going out. So back to ADDER, Wayne Jones Brownlow. Now I want to have a real podcast, and he agreed to come on a podcast with a certain other loser, but instead he's gonna come on mine, like a lot of the other lads, top boys, want to come on my podcast, talk with me. So ADDER, like, okay, so mean guy, people are scared of him, has a long history, a lot of criminal action, and then there's a known story that involves the TCE and the Exeter mob, which is their enemies, you know what I mean, the Sly Crew, and basically that dozen or so Plymouth lads, TCE boys, out on the piss after a Pumpy match, they decided to pop over in Exeter, have a drink in there, and in the other firm's pub, in the King Billy, and to the Sly Crew's credit, to the Exeter's credit, they came. They were there, and they came and they attacked them. You know, they attacked the pub. It's a known fight. Sheridan Davey and ADDER were among two of the boys that were known and got charges and everything, so it's public and it's known. You know what I mean? I ain't saying something that this is how I got to know these dudes and everything. I heard about some of these, you know, heard about this stuff ahead of time. And basically, it was that there was 6 runners, and the sinister 6, the steadfast 6, that's ADDER. He was the 6 that stayed, and they took a kicking, you know, but you know they walk away from it. They didn't back down 1 inch, then they took some damages and everything like that, and they got in trouble too. And they did all that for the name of Plymouth, and for the name of the Central Element, and for the Plymouth Argyle. And people don't have to like this sort of behavior. And people don't have to appreciate it and respect it, and look like I'm glorifying it. Somebody else could say, oh, you know, voice against adversity. Meanwhile, they're saying the same thing I'm saying. They're presenting the same content, presenting, but oh, you're like, they're against it. How are you against it? You're glorifying it as well. And I'm glad to glorify it, because football hooliganism, like it or not, there's a lot of worse things you could be doing. There's a lot, right now. What a UK youth is doing is imitate street youth, and the people at school over there is imitating American stuff. They want to be like American gangs. I'm telling you, you're better off with the football hooliganism. It's a release for men to bond together, and they're scared of it at the end of the day, yeah? But going back to Adder. So to tell you something about his character, so anyway, I come to meet him, and the TCE lads come to meet me and everything like that, and they had a great welcome for me. They brought me straight away to the steps, you know, Mayflower Steps. And then basically, whether that day or the next day, now my best friend Stephen Addison, who you hear about, he brings me out where there's going to be lads, you know, in the pub where boys hang out, and all sorts of lads, you know, a rougher place. And I go there, and other different situations happen. I met Adder, and some situation happened where another friend, but not a TCE, a heavy guy. There's been things in the past, a bigger dude. They start squaring off, and by the friendship I already made with Adder, just in a couple hours of hanging out with him, and apparently he doesn't really like many people. They don't like too many people. But we took each other. He's a skinhead as well. He knows music, and he's a skinhead. So right away we have a bond more than everybody else. That's just a casual, let's say, you know, because he was there and he listened to the same music he was there for. He's both with boots and braces, same as me. He looks like Skinner T too. So we took each other, and then he was gonna get in a situation. I instinctively got involved on his behalf, like backing him up, or you know, I go around the back of the other dude, whatever I did. And we went walking, and we walked for 4 hours and stuff like that. And he thought it was a bit odd because we walked. He said, "Oh, my friend, he owns a comic book store here." I said, "Comic books?" I said, "I like comic." He don't know if these guys don't know if I'm taking the piss with the comic books, and because I'm into art and I'm into other weird stuff. To them, it's weird. It's not weird to me. If you grew up in America, this kind of pop culture is not weird, you know. Wrestling, kung fu movies, comic books, that's what we grew up on. So I go in there, whoa, I meet his friend. Hey, nice to meet you. He's like, "Oh, here's the American hooligan." And the guy, it's not the average hooligan. The guy's looking for comic books. So I bought myself a couple comic books. He thought that was a bit odd, but he didn't judge me. And we hung out, and we became friends. And we hang out a lot, and we get in situations, and he looked after me too. Once I became skint and couldn't get no work and this and that, he looked after me, and he took care of me, and he tests you out too, just like Skinner T would do. Sometime I'm standing there, we're hanging out doing whatever we're doing. I don't know him that well. We're just getting to know each other. He looks over there, like behind my back, and I can see him peripheral vision. I don't know what he's up to. And he starts like grabbing behind my knee, like testing my knee out. Hey! And now he tries to get me, and hey! And I see him do it with some of his other friends. Like Skinner T, they'll try to get you out at night. They'll try to, and it happens to me with a lot of hooligans on both groups I've been with, and the other lads. Sooner or later, but he reminded me 100% of Skinner T, and me and Skinner T would end up with, you know, play fighting, and people getting scared. Hey, well, these guys are getting into a fight now. They're playing. It doesn't look like we're playing, really taking shots at each other. To me, it's like Harpo and Chico Marx. But anyway, so some other funny part about Adder, you know, sometimes we can talk about his history of football violence. He's fought everybody. Millwall, Pompey, you know, he's maybe not the most top because they've never been, you know, Premier League. They're in lower leagues. They're doing better now. Luckily, they're probably going to get promoted next Champions League, yeah? Next season. That'll be interesting. We get Cardiff and Plymouth together, just according to my design. Have a unity barbecue, Florida style, South Florida style. Going on with Adder. So funny thing about Adder, sometime I mentioned him when I was doing one about UK slang, and I was saying about a dopey cunt. Because, first of all, you call it this cunt, it doesn't mean a bad thing, but if you call it a dopey cunt, but in American style, it would be a hell of an insult, like, and and I've done it already. And people, what? You know, he's talking English. Because the thing is, we're all sat watching a football match, right? It's West Ham versus Man United. Manchester United, right? Some people say, oh, don't say Man United. So, we're watching a match. This is like it's in that same pub now that I think about it. It's kind of like a family place in the daytime. It has an outer area. I'm not going to mention it because it's a hangout. But families are in there watching a football match. It's not like well, there are lads there. Anyway, so we're sitting there watching the match, and you know, and then it's like this thing about people. Oh, what team are you supporting, and this and kind of thing like that. I grew up following, like, man, not following, but affiliated with Manchester United. I saw George Best play for my team, Fort Lauderdale Strikers, 1979, and he had other Manchester United players, and I knew it was a big deal. And I saw the logos. Then with the skinheadism, I had lads in my firm that were from Manchester that brought me in like that, and I created Miami Casuals with a lad who's second generation Red Army. So of course I'm going to be into that, but the way I took it is like, loads of people, whether it's Plymouth or Cardiff, loads of people, if you're not in Premier League, people in that city is going to support different football clubs. Like, people try to tell me, Del Boy, it's not a gang. you know, but it's like a gang on match day. But they don't fight each other day to day, like, because, and people got Manchester United, Liverpool, all that kind of stuff, Celtic, all that kind of stuff. You see that everywhere. It's no big deal. You know, people are not going to fight each other like these gangs fight each other over football matches on match day. So with that being said, it's quite normal for people to support in Plymouth or Cardiff or in any city. I don't know. I can't speak of every city, but in either one, it's quite normal for people to support Manchester United or West Ham. You know, free, and the kids wear the kits and stuff like that. You know, it's only us maniacs who take it to this next level. I would attribute it to passion. So we're sat there watching the match, and then some guy knows who I am. Oh, you're the hooligan and this and that. Yes, yes. And it's a young guy who's sitting there with his family or whatever like that, like a 16-year-old kid or something, normal guy. And everybody can hear us talking because as it is, I'm loud. And I can carry on. And I come to the pub, you're going to know it. And I start talking and let them know I have a couple guys. And now we start telling fighting stories. And we're in his hood. And he's a little older than me. So these are years and decades of fighting stories, as if you're in my hood in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, West Palm, you know, with years and years of fighting and decades of violence and extreme violence. And people know who it is, and people know it's a firm, and people know you're there. People know us colorblind, South Florida skinheads. We know you're there, you know, whether it's FSU Nation, you know, whether it's a motorcycle club, you know, people know you're there. People know who you are. This is your hood. This is your territory. And so we're already and he's funny as hell. To me, he's funny as hell. So he's already carrying on about something. And then the young guy I was mentioning about, he says, oh, so Diablo, he says, you know, you support Manchester United? I said, well, this is where I worked it out. I says, well, in Premier League, I support, at the time, Argyle was in 4th division. They move up. They're going to move up again. I've been supporting them, and as a result, I support the city. And the lads, as a result, I want their football club to go up. So I've been doing that, haven't I? So I tell him, yeah. I said, well, in Premier League, I support Manchester United. But in lower league, I support Plymouth Argyle. And I'm, you know, Adder's friend, and this stuff goes deeper. It's gang shit to me. You know, everybody can say whatever they want. You know what I mean? The football is the structure. You feel me? But they know I'm not really into the sport like that or whatever. I'm from America anyway. So he never said anything to me about supporting football and whatever. We're talking about other stuff. We're talking about fighting. And then this boy says, oh, he says, me too. Like when I said, yeah, I support Manchester United in the Premier League and the Plymouth Argyle in the lower league. Without hesitation. She says, what? Adder looks at him. He said, what are you on about, you dopey cunt? Fuck off. He started tearing him a new asshole. Oh, the kid would be quiet, and whoever the kid was with and the other people, a bunch of people, you know, this room full of people. It was just basically me and him inside watching the match. Other lads were outside. But nobody said anything. He just clammed the guy up. Yeah, you dopey cunt. And then we just went back to our conversation. So I could go on, and he's a lovely guy, and he's a great guy, and I miss him every day. ADDER, Wayne Jones Brownlow, known Plymouth Hooligan, TCE, Central Element Firm, and EBB, EFFORD Boot Boys, EBB. I'll tell you one last one. Sometime I'm in a pub, yeah, and the culture is different. Going around talking about hooligan firms in Cardiff and Plymouth is different. I go around talking about in Cardiff, people might be scared, but the city supports the Cardiff Soul Crew, and they're like respected like the gangsters and the mafia around the city. So it's different. You get respect for talking about it. However, in Plymouth, and I can go into it, but it's a different dynamic, you know, over the way it's gone on over there. And those guys were into smashing each other up. And I'll leave you with this because this is important history about the TCE. And ADDER told me, and it was based on the story. He's like, you know, he said, TCE could have been a top firm, you know, a top UK firm. We all fought each other. So what I was going to continue to say before I go into this final pub story, what I was going to continue to say about it was Steve Manley taught me. Steve Manley had took me aside early on and taught me that the Central Element, they used to all fight each other like gangs of hoods. EFFORD, Stonehouse, Estover, Devonport, and so on. They used to all fight each other as hoods. And rallying behind the Plymouth Argyle, because both Plymouth and Cardiff, there was alike in that sense. There's one football club. It's not a city divided between two football clubs. So everybody comes together for Plymouth Argyle. So then, out of that was born, and there's different people say different things what the meaning of the Central Element is, but it brought lads together from different hoods that would ordinarily fought each other. And Manley taught me that. But he said that, and I took it as a general statement, whereas what Adder gave me further clarification, where he says, no. He says, it brought lads together from different firms, right? But for football and for that, but it didn't bring the hoods together. The hoods still fought each other. And for example, EFFORD Boot Boys, who I align with because I lived there, and there's the friends I made, EBB, you know what I mean? So I go around, I got in a fight over chanting EFFORD Boot Boys in a different hood in Estover, and then this one I would have got in a fight too as well. I could have got myself jumped over it, because I come in the pub, I'm by myself, a windmill, and I go to a windmill, it's not a soft pub, champ. It's tough blokes hang out in there, several of which was in there at that time, understand? And old, guys my age, two big lumps. One was military, and he's going to be close to 300 pounds, 6'3", he ended up being a nice guy. But I walk in the pub, and, fuck me, I walk around, and the people don't know who I am, because I walk in real dodgy, deliberately, to see who's in there, and see if anybody knows me. I'm just trying to make friends, really, by the way I walk around. But I probably have a hoodie up or something like that, use my hooligan type of walk, look around in the pub, and people say, if you did that and you come in here, when I ever say this, you would have got smashed. But whatever, I do the middle of the pub, and I walk up to order my drink, and then the person all the bartenders and stuff will be looking at me, the people in the pub will be looking at me, and then from there I just be myself and be real nice. Oh, hello, can I use my American accent? Or that's if I want to be known. If I don't want to be detected, if I want to just hang out by myself, all right. Carling, or whatever I order, I just don't say much, and then I just kind of keep to myself. No, he's just another guy. He looks dodgy, but he's just having a drink and being calm. I'm not acting dodgy. On the other hand, if I start, yeah, brother, how you doing, brother? I start doing all that. Where are you from? But before I could do all that, some boy knows me, and he's with his girl. Hey, it's Del Boy. I'm a big celebrity in some of these places, Hey, it's me, brother. Hey, and they want to take pictures with me. And these other blokes are there, sat there, and they see that I'm somebody, whatever. I don't know if they knew anything about who I was, American Hooligan. Maybe they figured it out later. But, so next thing, after I kind of finished with those guys, I go up to get a pint, or they gave me a pint, whatever, now I'm sorry. And those other dudes start hitting me, oh, you're from America, and this kind of deal. And, yeah, well, what are you doing here, kind of deal. I think they know who I am already, or not. I said, well, I'm known as a, godfather of football hooliganism in the United States. What? Yeah. And I start looking at him, because now it's like, what's up? I'm like, yeah, TCE, Central Element. What? What are you doing? And then I say, yeah, EFFORD Boot Boys. You mean EBB? Yeah, because I'm saying TCE, EBB like it's, one thing, because that's the way it is to me. Only problem is, the EFFORD Boot Boys in their day smashed this pub a bunch of times. They go there and wreck the other hood. EFFORD Boot Boys is nasty. EFFORD is a tough place. EFFORD nasty place itself to a lot of people. That's where multi-playing is too. Compton is there too. Compton's not so bad, but anyway, I used to live right there. Compton and EFFORD, you feel me? Multi-playing every day I was, yeah. So, thing about it is, these geezers here, EFFORD Boot Boys, and they're looking at me like to jump me or something like that. I don't know. And they call it, and he said, who do you know, EFFORD Boot Boys? You're from America. I started saying, yeah, Adder, Sheridan, Davies. Started naming some of the boys. The big man, a nice guy. Forgot his name, but he ended up being a nice guy, military guy. And he calls up Adder. He says, hey, who's this guy in here? You wind him up to get me. He thinks that this guy's playing a prank on me, that I'm an American. He sent me in there to get jumped and go around there, tell him to this place that you're EFFORD Boot Boys. There's nothing like that. I just happen to be in there, and I represent, you feel me? And what are you doing here? Who you with? Who I'm with is who I'm with. And that goes for any gang I hang out with in any different city that I've been in, or any crew or whatever like that. You feel me? If you know I'm friends with these people, and these people, I hang out with them, and they're looking after me, and we're together. I don't got to be in the gang or out of the gang or whatever. I'm down with them. Don't mean necessarily I'm against the gang that they're against. I'm not going to jump into their fight that they already got going on. But yeah, ordinary people, you don't like this gang because you're from this neighborhood, and they bullied you in the past, and here I am by myself, or something like that, and you want to try to get revenge on me, then do it, dude. Huh? You know what I mean? End of the day, they didn't do anything. And we talk, but the guy kept telling me, listen, calm down. Basically, they were telling me that they don't like the way I behave and that it's off-putting. But guess what? Look, they say the way I move and the aggression. But guess what? Adder's just like that. So me and Adder's like a comedy team together. It's a comedy. It's a expense of the audience. Me and Adder together could make a show that would be something like Laurel and Hardy meets Clockwork Orange. Cheers. Adder, Wayne Jones Broadwell. Love you, mate.